Hi guys, welcome to the Virtual Movie Club with Mel. We're talking about a show today, not a movie, but it's a show that a lot of us ended up watching, so I feel like we couldn't not talk about it. I know a lot of us probably have like a lot of opinions on the show. It premiered on the 25th, and I watched it all. I watched it all on Friday. All day on Friday, that's all I did was watch this show.
Nice.
I just couldn't stop until I was finished with it because it feels, the thing is like these shows very fast paced and I don't really usually like period dramas, but this one was very fast and a lot happens in just one episode. So that really helped me out with me and my ADD because I just can't do slow stuff right now. So I want to hear each of yours opinion, like an abbreviated overview so that we can jump into a deeper dive after. So who wants to go first?
I have to go. I'll be back.
Okay. All right.
I'll go first.
Okay.
Honestly, it was hard for me to get into the show because I do love watching period films. I love the pianoforte-ish score. I love all of that. And so it seemed very modernized, and I was like, the modernized instrumental music was on, and obviously the race relationship. I was like, okay, everyone's friendly, everyone's nice. I'll try to get into it. But what helped me finish watching this show was the chemistry between the main characters. I was like, all right, let me watch this. And that's why I watched. Because if it wasn't for that, I'd have been like, yeah, this is all wrong according to history. I don't want to watch it. But it was good.
Okay. Awesome. Andrea or Deidre?
Yeah. Total opposite to Sophia. I loved. I'm not like super big on history and stuff, but just the looks, the fact that it was diverse, and the random thank you next playing in the background, like what? You know, that was really cool. But definitely the chemistry is like what got me between Daphne and Simon. Everyone else is kind of like, okay, yeah, whatever, get back. But yeah, I loved it. I didn't really care for the end, actually, but yeah.
I agree. I think because Sophie and I have like previously bonded over Pride and Prejudice. I think that's that movie, you know, like it is so good. So I love it. Like I love the English. I love the language. I love like learning about the culture. I do think that even loving that, I still loved Bridgerton because it's so different. Like no one has done something that's in multiple cultures before. So I appreciated the bravery of them doing that. And I loved how it just worked. You know, it was like, oh my gosh, homegirl's Asian. Oh, like, you know, this guy is like, who even is? You know, like a little bit mixed. Like, I don't know.
He looked mixed.
But it was just so different and eye-catching. And I was like, wow, everyone, like high stature, everyone's using the same language. It was just that it's like immediately, because like we were watching Bad Christmas movies, and then at the end of the Bad Christmas movie, they were like, hey, look, we just dropped this, and I was like
Watching the trailer.
Yeah.
Like, what?
I was like, wait, you have to watch this right now. Yeah. So loved it. The chemistry between Daph and Sai, you know, super good. And yeah, I was a fan for a little.
I started watching this at 2 a.m. and I didn't stop until 5 because I fell asleep. And then I woke up the next day and kept watching it. It was so hooked on it. It was so good.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, I didn't really watch any trailers. Like for me, I never really watched trailers. I see like glimpses, like clips from ads or whatever, like on the internet. Even though I'm not like a period drama fan, it obviously looked different. So that piqued my curiosity. I wanted to check it out. And obviously it's not like a true depiction of the historical context back in the Regency era. Even though there is speculation that Queen Charlotte was mixed. Correct me if I'm wrong, Sophia. Yeah. I don't know. I wanted that didn't bother me, I guess, because I'm not looking to watch like the History Channel or like a documentary. I just wanted to get swept up in this fictional world, and it swept me up. I got surprisingly invested once I saw that it's a fake relationship trope, and I was like, well, gotta watch this now.
I know. Those are always the best, though. Those are always the best because we know how the story is gonna end.
But it's so entertaining.
Yeah.
It's like, you know how it's gonna go. Like, obviously they're gonna fall in love, but you want to see how that plays out. You know?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every time. You can say it.
I don't know how many times. Oh, I'm sorry. Somebody was talking.
Go ahead.
I don't like the whole, fake relationship tropes is always the best for me because it's like we know how it's going to end, but you want to know that chemistry, how it's, how they built on them, like what happened. And if a show or a series or a movie have me yelling at the screen like, oh my God, tell her or tell him, I'm already invested. I love those.
I don't know how I get invested because of the lack of communication.
Yes.
Like you, like it's like, can you guys please just express your feelings? Like somebody tell the truth or something.
Yeah.
That scene in the garden, the sound that came out of me, I don't recognize it. It was so.
There were so many. I'm not gonna lie.
Tanya says, I wasn't watching it for historical purposes. It's Shondaland. I knew it would be full of lustful drama. Yes, Tanya. You know what you're getting yourself into when you're watching a Shonda show.
But I feel like we have to give that show a bit of credit in regards to the history aspect because I saw what they were trying to do. They were very subtly explaining the race relation within the show because at that time, there was rarely ever Black people being dukes or debutantes. They were introduced to society. The social class in Britain was like, this doesn't fly. But the fact that they mentioned ever so slightly some information about the past, but didn't deter it from the actual story, I was like, okay, I see what you guys are doing. You mentioned Lord Dunmore, which was a huge figure that was, played a part in the American Revolutionary War. And I'm like, all right, I see what y'all doing. Okay, good. But I appreciate that they explain the relationship of the races and how they were involved in the show and why they are where they are now. So I'm like,
when lady, what's her name? Danbury, she was explaining it to Simon. I appreciated that too because it's like, okay, like we can like mention it why like it's different and stuff, but like I also like that they don't like continue to harp on it and like make it a thing like they're Black and we're white. Like it's like nice seeing period stuff that doesn't have to do with like Black struggle all the time sometimes.
I think the show mainly focused on like the actions of the people more than like their race. Something, which I really liked. That it was something like different that I hadn't seen before.
Yeah, I really appreciated that. What are so let's dive next into characters or scenes. There's just so many episodes.
So much to like unpack.
There's so much to unpack. Okay, what happens in the pilot? Okay, so we're introduced to Daphne. She is the diamond of the season. It's her time to be out. She's the debutante and she is on a mission to find her husband, right?
Yeah.
And then we also introduced to her family. She has a large, there are 8 siblings. And then there is the Featherton house, which they have 3 daughters. They're all redheads. And then we're introduced to Simon, the Duke of Hastings, right? Hastings.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know what I
say. Let's talk about
what else.
Daphne, because one of the things that I like is that she's about finding her husband, but she's not about not being able to voice her opinion and to be, looked upon because of her gender. I was like, yes. Okay, let's bring that in. She's like, that's what I want. I want to get married. I want to do this. I want to do that. But I also want someone to respect me. And just because I'm a woman doesn't mean that I don't have the right to make the choice who I want to marry. And I thought that was different. Okay, it is a Regency period film, but you don't get so much of that independence idea and feeling like, okay, I should be able to have that, decision of making what I, to do what I want and what I want to do. And I like that. It was like, okay, nice. It was refreshing.
Yeah, she's very aware of her like situation. The scene where she's talking to her brother Anthony, and that they're like on the horses, and she's like, "You can do whatever you want, but my whole purpose is to be a wife and have a kids, and that's all I'm good for. That's all I was bred to do, basically."
I like that she's very aware of the situation. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. Is there any more thoughts about Daphne?
What like anything else about Daphne?
Yeah. From Deidre and Andrew.
I agree with what Sophia said, that she's like a strong character, because even after she became a duchess, she was like, I'm gonna solve your problem, to Marina Thompson. She was like, I'm gonna do what I can. And Marina was like, okay, you can do nothing. But Daphne was able to impact her life, help change it for the better, even though it wasn't the best possible situation. She was like, I have some power. And then she even impacted the Featheringtons, like their family, because they were like excluded from society. And she was like, I'm going to extend an invite to you. And it changed them. Like it made them palatable again. So she just didn't like, I feel like to a degree, she didn't like the culture that they had. Like, yes, it was her culture, but she was like, well, that's not fair. And let me erase that. That's not fair. No, thank you. To her power. So I really appreciate that she wasn't just a static woman character.
True. Yeah, I feel like she was just like very much like in charge of her life, like even with different roles and things in place, like they were trying to make her marry what's his name? I forget.
Nigel. He's such a creep. I hated that guy.
Oh. He's so annoying.
And when he ended up in the garden with Simon and he's about to duel, she's like, you're gonna marry me, like she kind of put things into her own hands like all the time. And even like when she visited like the town or whatever, and they had like the little pig whatever, she's like, everyone's a winner, even though she messed up, but still like she tried. She took her own hands.
But Deidre mentioned something about how the whole dueling scene, that was a boss move. She listened to his story. She was like, okay. And you almost think that she's going to be like, well, that's it. Like, that's how I felt. I was like, dang, she's not going to have him. And she turned around and said, yeah, we're going to get married. That is unheard of at the time. You don't do that. You wait until you get proposed to. You don't make those decisions. And that was such a turning point in her character, because ever since then, she started making moves. She started saying, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to play the game. And then when she got into, into the house, and she's like, okay, these are my rules. These are our plays. We're going to change some things up. I don't like how this is it. She just completely evolved once she made that decision to say, okay, I gave you the chance to say what you need to say. You say you don't want to marry me. We're getting married in the story. I was like, yo, that's so modern thinking right now. I love it.
Yeah. And like good for to talk about,
even doing that's not better than you or like whatever, like it's just everything was like out of love and like wanting like change. Basically.
Yeah. I want to talk about the transformations of the character, because I think you made a good point, Sophia, about like how she kind of like transforms during the show with having more assertion over her life. And I think for someone like Simon, I think when he starts off the show, he starts off very kind of like a little bit like stoic, a little bit a little cocky, but then when he finds himself like he's intrigued with her, and then that changes into like he cares for her, and then he's falling in love with her. Like he's a little bit shook because he's kind of like losing control of what he's always thought that life would be. Like he's like, no, like I'm not gonna get married. I'm not having any kids. I'm not gonna fall in love. But then like he meets her, and then he sort of transforms into being able to be a little bit more vulnerable with this person that he feels like he can talk to. That's my favorite aspect of that relationship, was that they started out as like friends because they know that they weren't interested in each other, so they could just like relax and be themselves, and then like that naturally grew into them having stronger feelings for each other. What are your guys' opinions on like that, the journey of that relationship?
I love it.
I love it.
That's the best way to do it. Like, I love that. Cause I don't know. There's a lot of like you have to be a certain way in public. You have to say certain things all the time. They would just like talk as people, and they would laugh as friends, and they would confide in each other. And I think one of the biggest stabs came when Simon was like, "We were never friends." I was like,
Yeah.
"What do you mean? How can you say it? Like, you never friends? Like,
That's her.
So hurtful.
It was super hurtful because they built such a deep friendship, which was like, normally they're not even friends when they get married. It's like, hey, I saw you cross the ballroom. Hey, what's up? Let's get married. You know?
Please, that's what I liked about it. It's not like a regular rom-com where they meet each other and then they already say I love you, but it's like, no, like let's get to know each other.
And I think for Simon, in my opinion, his turning point was when she was engaged to that first guy. I forgot his name, the annoying one. He noticed that he all of a sudden felt like he was the one that needs to protect her. And he was like, I need to protect her. I need to make sure that she's okay. This guy's not right for her. And I feel like because he realized that out of nowhere he has this feeling or this emotion to protect her, to make sure that she's safe and she's okay, it kind of developed into like, okay, there's something more there. And he didn't want to admit it to himself. But yet every time she's with these other guys, he's like, especially when the prince came around, he's like, okay, yeah, I really like this girl. I thought it was interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. I think in the show you see a lot from her perspective, like when she's starting to think about him and dream about him. She's, like he's in her every thoughts. And I think you see that a little bit with Simon too, but I think I would have liked to see a little bit more from his perspective, only because like in a lot of these romantic movies or shows, you always see it from the girl's point of view and not a lot of times from the guy's point of view. So I wish they kind of leaned into that a little bit more, because I'm always interested to see like, what is the guy thinking? Like, what does he feel? Is he thinking about her too,
I think they made up for it though when they killed before the queen.
Yo.
Yes, I was gonna say that.
What'd you say? What'd you say?
I said I think they made up for not doing that when they had to appeal before the queen.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I was like,
I thought about that.
this is what
I was dying at that scene.
I thought about that all the time. I was like, man, I really wanted to know, like, what did he go through? Did he, think about her a lot? But then I'm like, you know what? It would have totally downplayed his, his emotion when he expressed his feelings to the queen about her. Because he would have been like, oh yeah, we already know how you feel because we kind of see what you went through. But the fact that they didn't reveal that, and until he had to like appeal before the queen, like, look, man. And I was like, I was like eating. And I was like, oh God. And my mom was like, okay. I'm like, it can't be. Oh Lord.
Moon when he's like, I burn for you.
Yeah, that was a great scene. Because I was like, yo, they were
I was
just
so confused
at that time. But I was living for all of those instances where Simon was able to just like express, especially since like he's originally couldn't express anything.
Yeah.
So that he was able to express something like that depthful and be like, this is what I'm doing.
It was full of passion. He said it with passion. He was like, I'm sorry, but like, I've been burning for you. I was like, girl, he said burning. He's burning.
It was killing me. Okay, side note. I identify with Simon because I also have like a big like speech and stuttering issue. So that moment where he's like, like I've never been much for like talking or flirting or chatting, but he's like, but with her, like it just felt so natural and I felt so at ease and I was dying.
It's good. It's really good. My favorite scenes are like when they're just gazing to each other's eyes, and you can tell like they have so much to say, but it's just transformed like into like those just the nonverbal expressions, and you're like, oh yo, they digging each other. I loved it.
It's always about the look. With chemistry in film or TV, it's all about the look. Like you have to sell it, like you have to sell the chemistry. Hi Cynthia, I hope you feel great. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because sometimes you'll have a show or a movie and have the great storyline. Everything is perfect. The dress and costume, the music, and you're not even buying the relationship. You're like, oh, they don't like each other.
Right.
You know what I mean? But this one was like you two were moved by their chemistry. You're invested in it. You're like, okay. I was just screaming at my TV all the time. I was like, yo, please, let's go.
I was always squealing. Like, I would like voice text Cynthia because I was watching at the same time as she was, and I was like, oh my god, he said, call me Simon.
Stop.
Yeah.
I would burn for you. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay, I sent her a voice text. I was like, why does he hate her? They're engaged. They're gonna get married. Why does he hate her now? Because I'm like thinking as she does, like she's like so confused, and I'm like, why does he hate her? And it's because he didn't think that she wanted this wedding either.
He thought he trapped.
Yes.
Oh my god!
Yes. All I know is that I am gonna plan on buying the book.
I'm reading it.
Are you? Because the thing is, I don't like heavy adult romance like that because I'm like, sometimes they come off a little bit too cheesy and cliche. But I think Netflix did a really good job on, incorporating different cultures into the characters and changing up, and so you don't have the same, white girl, white guy falls in love. I don't think we would have been this interested in the show if it was just that typical storyline with the same race. The fact that they changed it up, I'm like, yes, this is perfect. I'm in for it.
And I think what also adds to that is like it's not a thing. Like for putting Daphne comments on like the color of her skin, like she's Simon.
Yeah.
So I think that also really does it for me. Like it's not like the thing that they have to really think about.
Yeah, because book adaptation, not to add into that, but they normally, especially in the romance field, it's always white couples or that, they have the leading. You pick up a book, it's mostly about white couples, their relationship, and all that. So, like I think Andrea or Deidre mentioned, it was brave of Netflix to switch it up a bit and to make it more modernized and to have everyone watching the show can see themselves in there. Like, oh, okay, that's whatever. So I thought that was really good that they did that. Changing the races, based on books. So that's cool.
Yeah. And what for me, some other interesting things about this show because I feel like in a lot of shows and movies, like when things start to get really romantic physically, like they don't really make it a point to like show like is this okay or if it's not okay. And I thought it was interesting when he asked her, do you want me to stop? And that really struck me. I was like, I like that he's asking to make sure that this is an okay thing. Because they don't show that enough. It's the consent for me. Yeah. But on the flip side of that, I do want to bring up a scene that I do have, like, I'm conflicted about. And that's towards, like, I think it's episode 6 or 7. They're, like, in their honeymoon phase. And she finds out the truth about, like, his little, like, thing, which, like, shattered my heart. So, like, so after they're done, like, he looks, like, really confused. He was like, why? Like, why would you do that? And I felt conflicted because I feel like she went in there knowing that she had this goal in mind, but he didn't know. Like, he had no idea that was going to happen.
I kind of feel like
So
she took matters again. We're seeing that she's developing into being more assertive of what she wants to happen. And
his consent to do that.
Yeah, but the thing was, he lied to her, though. He said that, and he picked words where she felt like, oh, he just couldn't have children.
Yeah.
And that's what he said, when really he could. He made that decision that he didn't want to. And if that's what he wanted to do, then he should have just said, hey, look, I have some issues that I'm dealing with my family, and, this is the reason why. And, that's why I didn't want to do it. But he didn't say that. So she felt like, well, since you took that right away or that decision away from me, I'm gonna do that back to you,
Well, that's the thing. Like, does that really justify? Like, does the revenge really justify what she did? I don't know. I don't know.
I think
because I'm being honest, like, I didn't love that she did that because I feel like it was kind of a violation because that's something like he didn't want to do, and she has this knowledge now, so she does exactly what he doesn't want to do.
Yeah, like their trust is gone with that. I mean, even though like he basically he lied to her, yes, but he did tell her, I can't have kids, and she went into that knowing that kids were never going to be a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I don't know, like he lied, but she knew that he never wanted kids.
Like they both did each other wrong. Like
but I feel like what she did it was worse in a sense. That's because it's not just like her life that she's taking into like control. Because now she's gonna like, if she were to have that baby, like it would have been the baby's choices, well, not choices, like life that would have changed because of her actions. So I don't know. I didn't like that part.
Yeah,
me neither. I didn't like that part at all because it. I don't know, because it's like a violation for me. Like he did lie, but the thing is, I also do believe him because at the end he looks like really like bewildered. He's like, why did you? He thought that like she knew how kids were made, so that's why he's so confused as to why she would do that. So that's why I didn't like that she did that to him. You know what I mean?
true. I don't know. I just feel like I don't know. I feel like
It's
let me not say
conflicting.
that. And then let me, because I feel like if I say something, they'll be like, "Well, that's how you feel, Sophie." No, I just feel
you petty.
I just feel like she basically told him once they had that communication where they're like, "Okay, we're on the same page. We love each other. We're not trapping each other. We want to, want this to work. The only condition is that I can't have kids." He specifically used those words for her to believe that, oh, he just can't have kids. So he used her lack of knowledge to take advantage of her.
But he thought that she knew.
No.
When he says I can't have kids, he meant like I could never give you kids because
I'm sorry. He knew that this girl did not know much about the whole.
No, I agree with you. I agree.
Remember when he asked her, "Did you touch yourself? Like, do you touch yourself?" And she's like, and he's like, "Well, you haven't." If this girl doesn't know how to pleasure herself, she wouldn't. She's not gonna know.
But that's a different thing than having the birds and the bees talk with your parents, which he thought that she probably had that with her mom. You know what I mean?
Scene where she was talking to him about like how she'll be a great aunt to her nieces and nephews, and he didn't really correct her in the sense of like they were talking about like they'll never have kids, like in a sense that he can never have kids, right?
Yeah.
So he never even corrected
He
that.
should have was like if he would have said, "Hey,
semantics. Semantics.
I just don't want to have kids because of a deeper issue," I think she would have
tried to see it from his perspective. For him, he could never have kids because of his dad. Like, he should have communicated. Like, I hated that he never actually told her. Like, she had to find out for herself. Like, read the letters. Like, the dad was a POS. Like, he should have told her, like, why I'm so adamant about this. I can't ever have kids because I had a deadbeat dad, and I don't want to do that because I made a promise because my dad was just a terrible person. But he never communicated that. So he should have communicated better. But I still don't think it's an excuse for her to do what she did to him. Because that made me feel really uncomfortable.
I agree with Melissa. I feel like even though I wish he would have just explained it. I don't feel like when he was saying, "Oh, I can't have kids," that he was trying to make her think it was like he physically can't have kids. I just worded it.
But there were many
I think he was trying
opportunities where he could have corrected her, like Cynthia said. She voiced it.
He didn't think to do that because for him, like, I'm telling you I can't have them, meaning I'm not gonna, like, I don't know, like, I think for him, he thought he was being honest. Even though clearly to us, he should have communicated that better, but for him, he thought he was being honest to her,
Yeah, I think with him, okay, I do think his word choice is, like, on that fence of, like, what you trying to say. What are you trying to imply while telling the truth at the same time? But I think he did voice many, 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 many times, I cannot give you the life you want.
Yeah.
I cannot. I would
Yeah.
I mean, she knew what she was walking into.
Exactly.
She
Yeah.
did. She did know.
At
But
the same time,
He did tell her.
shows that
other-
miscommunication.
Yeah.
And he was like, I thought I was enough.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh.
So I feel like that
She said
is
she did. She was like, I can't sacrifice you. Like, she chose to marry him.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so homegirl messed up. I messed up
She
because
did. She did. I think it's like it's a combination of miscommunication and a lack of sexual education. Like, her mom did her dirty too.
Yeah.
But
Come on, you don't say anything.
no, she didn't. Like, her mom could have told her. But and then I love how they had that scene afterwards when they go back to London that she gets angry with the mom. Like, you didn't explain to me everything, like what happens between a man and a woman.
And that's typically how, which I like how Netflix, brought that out too, because that's how it was back then. You were taught how to be proper, how to have that mannerism when you're out in public. Having those conversations was frowned upon for the women because they felt like that was not ladylike. You shouldn't have. You'll know when you need to know when you have your husband, and that was the end of it. How to get this is what we do? Okay, I guess you'll find out as you go. But that discussion beforehand did not happen.
Marcia said,
I feel like that's so relevant now. A lot of people
he knew she didn't really understand how babies are made, so he took advantage of that. I don't think so, Marcia. I don't know if you missed my earlier conversation, but I think he thought she didn't know like the more like pleasurable sexual stuff, but he figured that the mom at least told her how babies are made. And I think again, like, I think he thought he was being honest enough, but obviously as viewers, he should have communicated that better. Like, communication is always like the biggest thing in these movies. Like, everything is always misunderstood.
Yeah. But yeah, that was I thought it was a very bold move of her to do. So like, oh. And then I'm sorry, I'll start this conversation about this particular scene. All the love scenes, I was a bit cringe. It was cringy to watch because when he had to pull out, I was like, oh God.
You know what? Yes, I was thinking, who's gonna clean that up? Because you're walking away from it.
I couldn't watch this scene because I was like,
I was confused.
Can we wrap this up?
Yeah, I was like, what is he doing? But I'm glad that she had enough like insight to ask, to like know this, like, why does he do that every single time? So then that made her to go ask her maid person.
Yeah. Naomi said, this pull-out game is strong.
Twitter.
Oh God.
All over Twitter, people kept saying that.
The thing is, only that part where I felt like, oh, this is. I did not enjoy that part. Not because it was silly. It was so cringy. I was like, oh, come on, child. Let's fast forward, please. And I didn't enjoy that at all because it was just.
Same, Marcia. She said, I also thought that the pull-out part was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I didn't understand it at first. I think getting offered so quickly. Me too. Like, the first time that they're together during their honeymoon night, and he, like, dives away, I was like, what are you doing?
That's when the acting was a little bit too much. All right.
Yeah.
Bring it back a little. Bring it back.
It's a lot.
Oh my God. So, yeah. That's all I had to say about those things.
Sharing with like the cleaning staff, like for them. So they have to clean everything.
All right. Again on the sheets. This is clean.
On the floor, everywhere. It was just like a mess.
Another component
Oh,
of this show was the voiceover, which is played by Julie Andrews.
Yes.
The legend
Princess
herself.
Diary.
The legend, Dame Julie Andrews. I love her. I'm interested to know if you guys were interested in the Lady Whistletown part of the show. Did you try to get to it?
I've been knew it was that girl. What's her name again?
Yes!
I been knew it was Penelope. Let me tell you how I knew. This girl got me so mad. I felt so sad for her. I was like, damn, Penelope.
I want
always
her
trying to.
to
Yes, she knew. She was like, he's a good man.
Yes.
He doesn't deserve this.
Like, tell him how you feel, girl. Tell him how you feel.
But whenever like that moment when Euphemia was like, hey, we're gonna go, we're gonna elope, we're gonna run away, and the next day, boom, that whole information about her being pregnant is out on the, out to the world. Everyone knew about it. I was like, oh, Penelope. I thought she told Lady Whistledown that this was what was happening, and I'm like, no, it's her. It had to be her, and it was her.
I didn't think it was her. I was going with Eloise, like the investigator, like whoever she thought it was. I was like, okay, it's this. It's her.
Yeah, same. I wasn't like super shocked when it was Penelope. I just didn't think that it was her, and I feel like it should have been someone else. I didn't like that it was her.
Yeah, I didn't like that it was.
I don't think it makes sense.
I figured it was her because she was like reading all the time, and like she was in all the events when everything would happen. Like she was literally in the middle of it. And then when Eloise said that it couldn't be a servant, I was like,
yeah, because
what?
Remember, Eloise said, she said, man, dude, don't you like? She said, whenever they had huge events going on, Lady Whistledown knew everything about it, but when the family weren't a part of it, she was like, how come they didn't mention what happened at the other ball? And she was like, no, I don't know. And, she kind of like brushed it. I was like, oh no, Penelope, that's you, girl. I knew, because of Eloise. That girl's smart.
I thought that was just a slide against the queen. Like, oh, we're not going to mention your bad, because the queen was like, that's worse than saying it's bad, right? Because like the queen had it out for Lady Whistledown. And I was like, she probably knows somehow, and she was trying to get back at the queen. Like, I didn't think it was because of an absence, which makes more sense now.
But I feel like the fact that she was willing to sacrifice her sister's reputation as well as a potential marriage to someone just to make sure that her boy doesn't get trapped with what's her name? Euphemia? Is that her name?
Marina.
Yeah,
Marina.
Marina. I thought that was too. I instantly did not like her character because of that. Because I'm like,
because
at that time, because your reputation was everything you had. That's it. Not your skills, not how. No, it was your reputation. And the fact that she did it, she threw her mother under the bus. She threw her sisters under the bus just to make sure Marina didn't have or couldn't be with Colin. I was like, yo, that was too cold for me. I was like, yeah, that is not nice.
Play devil's advocate. She really cares about Colin and his reputation too.
Yeah, she almost destroyed his reputation as well.
No, but she wanted him to, because the thing is, I feel bad for Colin. Like, he would have gone into a marriage being a complete fool and idiot, not knowing what's going on, just thinking about him as her friend and someone that she loves.
Yeah, but
she didn't want him to go into a situation.
At one point, you said, if you would have told me the truth, I would have still married you.
I know. I feel like he would have done that because he's a good guy.
I was like, that was like a slap. I felt that. I was like, dang, sis, just tell him.
I feel
like a communication is everywhere.
I believe him too, because he's like a good soul. He's like a good guy. Yeah, I believe that. Marcia said, I didn't like that it was Penelope. I think it should have been someone older.
Yeah.
Older. Interesting. I guess I don't mind. I don't like care that it's her. Huh?
I'd like, that it could have been the French lady that's not actually French.
Yeah.
I like that it could have been.
She has,
because she. Oh wait.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
You was talking.
Okay, because she was there, like, even when whatever, like, Daphne's mom, right? She was trying to tell everyone's business about Nigel. Like, the dressmaker had all of the information about everyone.
Yeah.
And so of course, like, everyone goes there to get fitted. They were all at the events. They're gonna be so I really liked that. I thought that makes sense now, still knowing. Okay, I still prefer.
She's independent. She's making her own money. She has her shop. every woman goes in there, they're gossiping. It would have made she had the perfect setup to be Lady Whistledown. So for it to be Penelope only because she has like a revenge or she wanted to protect Colin was like, okay, but that French lady, she had the perfect setup because she didn't want us to come to the whole marrying type. Like, no, I make my own money. I'm good. That's definitely the attitude of Miss Lady.
Maybe because she's that type of woman, like why would she waste her time doing this pamphlet like every week if she's busy making her own money? I think like with Penelope, she's very much like looked down upon. People keep underestimating her. She's not like known as like the one that the guys want to marry. So I think she probably feels like she has something to prove, and the only way that she has her true voice out there is through Miss Whistledown.
Yeah.
That is Penelope. I might be crazy. I might be in denial, but I'm just not convinced that it's just her. Like even if it's a combination of multiple women being Lady Whistledown, they have a club. You know, like I just
That'd be so cool.
Yeah. I don't know. Because when Ella was confronting her low key about Whistledown, she was like acting like she was in the know. Like Whistledown would say something.
Yeah.
You know, like you don't want that. You know, but like she wasn't like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
It was like something secret.
Ooh, Andrea, you might be onto something. That's true. Cause she was also checking leadership and can like write stuff. Yeah. Oh, season 2. There might be season 2. Season 2. But I think one character that we're so overlooking is Daphne's sister, Eloise.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
I
love her.
Yes, I think she is like every time she opened her mouth, she was saying something. I was like, yes. She was like, why do we have to keep doing this? And it was like Daphne character and her character was going against each other. She was like, listen, you need to be more than just looking to get married. You need to, focus on, is this what your life is all about? And Daphne had a reasonable, she's like, hey, this is what I want, but I'm not going to let, my choices or my gender define or take away the choices that I could make for myself. So they had great points. And to see them go head to head, throughout the show, it was interesting. Because I'm like, I don't know which one I want to pick because they're both made a valid point.
Yeah, I like that dichotomy because I think it's valid, like for both sisters. Like, if you want to find someone to marry and you want to live your life that way, that's totally fine. But then there's Eloise, who has her mindset living in this 19th century, and she's not interested in marriage. She just wants to maybe go to school. She wants to make her own money, but like she's like looked down upon for that. So I think it'd be interesting to see her navigate her world in season 2 to see how is she able to even like live in this world when she has like this like 21st century mindset.
I'm curious on what they're going to do with her character. Like, is she going to be forced to go along with society and have to get married? Because remember, she wanted to make her mom proud, so she was like, fine, Damia, let's go. I'll do this. And then, with her sister help, she left the ball to go, figure out who Mrs. Whistledown was. So I'm curious on how her character is gonna play out, her story is gonna play out, because it is interesting.
So in the book series, there's 8 books, and each book is focused on the love life of a Bridgerton sibling. And for
Eloise is gay. I have a feeling.
Huh?
I have a feeling that she's into like. I don't want to be rude to anybody, but I think she might be a little gay. Like she's into women.
I summarized. I read the summaries for all the books, and like she ends up with spoiler. I don't know if anybody wants to know.
Oh. Yeah. Just say she has a love interest, and it's not a guy.
You're not gonna see it for like many years though. So it don't
matter. Don't kill it. Don't kill
really?
it. Don't kill it.
You're live.
Cynthia.
I said no. I know all the siblings.
Nope. I'm gonna wait till Netflix tells you.
Season 2 focuses on another sibling, Anthony, and his.
I've been knew that.
So but that one is a trope of we hate each other, but then we love each other. So of course I'm gonna watch because
Crying.
we love the tropes.
He was crying.
What did you guys think about like
The who?
Like I
how it ended?
said, it was rushed.
I can't hear you.
She said, "What do you guys think about the ending, though?"
Oh.
For me, I'm gonna stick to my theory of COVID hit, so they had to wrap it up. They weren't sure season 2 was gonna happen because everything. I was the way the story was building. Excuse me, get out of the room. That's my niece. The way the tell I'm coming. The way the story was building up, it felt like it's gonna cut off the characters, storyline. You're just gonna have to like figure out what's gonna happen, and then season 2 was gonna explain all of that. But then you have the baby coming out. Simon is happy, and I was like, wait, why are we wrapping up everything? This is too fast. I felt like Mrs. Whistledown. We should have kept that mystery going. Don't let Penelope, so people could like have the time to digest like who was in that chariot. Yeah. Was it Mrs. I felt like COVID hit, man.
Cliffhanger.
London was shutting down. So.
That would have been a good cliffhanger, but being the impatient person that I am, I didn't mind that they showed us who it was. Because first of all, A, I'm impatient, but B, I feel like it's also gutsy to tell your viewers in season 1 who it is, because then maybe you're opening up yourself for even more storylines. Like now Penelope, like since we know that it's her, like now we are in the know with her that she has to keep it a secret, and it's like, oh my god, like it should be found out. So it's like another layer of that. And I do think like the story between Simon and Daphne was resolved super quickly.
Yeah.
But then I never had like an answer, because the thing is, I feel like my favorite part of those love stories is seeing the actual like falling in love part. And so I think like once you're already in that and it's already accomplished, and then you're married and have a baby, like, well, I don't really have much to hang on to anymore. So
really, because remember she took advantage of him, and so we want to know if she's pregnant, and if so, what how that's gonna how the relationship now is going to develop, because now it was all lovey-dovey, but then
she lost
so she lost the baby, but then what happened after that?
Wait,
are you still in love? Wait, Simon and Dad. We know at the end of the show they made up. But I'm saying it would have been good if they didn't quickly resolve the issue. Yeah, right, okay. She lost the baby, because remember, he's like, depending on if you have that baby or not, will, determine how I proceed in this marriage. Okay, so she lost the baby. What then? Let's keep that mystery open. Let's leave that door open. They shut that door, so now what? When in season 2 come in, what other drama are we going to give them, or are they even going to be on the show?
They're not. I think they're.
They might be in the show. They might be in the show, but like in the background, because season 2 will focus on Anthony and his like love.
I'm not going to care.
No.
I'm not.
I thought I wasn't going to care, but then once you're reading about the second book, it's like, well, I'm interested. Because the thing is, like, if she already had the baby and now they're happy, it's like, what else is there left? That's like, there's nothing else left there.
That's the whole point. That's the whole point. It happened too soon. Even in the other show,
but they just cut all of that.
Deidre, I can't hear you. Get closer to the mic.
What? Why can't you hear me?
I can't hear you.
That's what I don't like. Like, I would have liked to see the moment that they realized that she was pregnant, how Simon reacted to that, and how they come to some common ground, not all of a sudden she's like in labor. I
feel like this should have gone through like I know that there wasn't any therapy back then, but like some sort of like conversation as to like, okay, so we are doing this. Right. Because I feel like it was like 180 of him to be like, all right, well, I'm ready now.
Yeah, I was like,
although they had that dance moment in the rain, but I was like, that was too short. That was too short. What season 2 for their storyline should have been was like season 2, where did we left off with them, and then gradually they fall back, and the other, sibling comes in, and we're like, okay, something's happening with them. But if you cut it off, it's like, you don't leave the audience that moment to digest and to accept what happened. It's like this happened way too quickly. Even if we're going to focus on another couple in season 2. Let it progress gradually, and then they wrap that up real quick.
That is fair.
Next.
It was wrapped up like really, really quickly.
Yeah.
I wonder why they
And
started
it's like not
with her story and not like her brothers. You know what I mean?
What?
Okay, so like all the kids are named alphabetically, right? So like I don't know if like this. Sorry, let me collect my thoughts. So I don't know if like the book, she made the book for Daphne and then it got such success that she decided to do all the kids. Or I mean the author, I don't know if it's a woman or a man, I don't know who wrote it. I didn't really look into it. But I just was wondering, like, I wonder why they started with Daphne, or if it was because it was such a success that they just like continued it.
I don't know. I'll research that.
a good theory.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But the first
Oftentimes that is the case though. Oh, Gracie sucks. Let's make a book 2.
Yeah,
We'll see.
Yeah.
and then there's
After she, she didn't have the baby and she's like crying with her mom, like you don't know, like, okay, Simon's just sitting there, you don't know how they, like, what conversation they had after that.
Or, or maybe the pain of her losing the baby. He's like, man, maybe this is what I want.
Period just came. I thought her period just came.
Yeah,
No, I think she had a miscarriage because it was like a lot of blood and like it looked like.
I didn't think that. I
But I don't think it was enough.
felt like she was disappointed that her period came, not that she had a miscarriage.
It was a
No, she didn't bleed for a while. Like she kept checking the bed because it was like gonna happen every soon, and like it wasn't happening. And then I guess like I thought my understanding was she had a miscarriage from the amount of blood that came out of her. I was like,
I thought she was.
To me, it felt like it felt like she got her period because I didn't see any, bulging of her belly.
Yeah, and there wasn't like matter.
It didn't really. It could have been early on. I just think because like when she like looked at the napkin, it was like a puddle and like very thick, so it looked like a.
We have to look this up to see if she was actually
what it was. Because I think if it was like a little spot, it'd be like, but if it's just, we're like, I know what's going on, so I think it was just for us to be like, okay, this,
the baby's not happy.
Yeah. Maybe that.
Yeah.
I also would have liked to see him express his past instead of her finding letters, because I wanted him to like be that vulnerable and tell her why he is the way that he is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree. I do think, I was expecting him to be angry with her that she found him and that she read him. So, because he was like already like this, you cannot come into this part of my heart, And so she was like, I thought he was gonna be like, what are you doing, But I do agree, Melissa, because like he didn't tell anyone, and that's his wife, like she's really his wife, and it was like, no, you don't need to know. I didn't like that part.
Yeah.
Especially when she gave him no reason to feel that way, because she's like, look, we're gonna do this together. I'm in it together, and every time she wanted to make a decision and she's saying, hey, I want to change this room or I want this to happen, she always went to him and said, hey, what do you think? This is what I want to do, which I thought that was a good balance of her being independent and making her own decisions, but she also wanted to involve her husband. So the fact that he didn't feel comfortable to let her know, which was like, why not? Yeah. She's letting you know she's in it for
really,
to the end.
It's like painful to admit that my dad didn't love me. Like that's really hard to express, which I get. But I was hoping that they were gonna get to that point where he was gonna let his walls down and like really, really tell her why he's so adamant about the whole kids thing, because it runs really deep,
Yeah, I think if they would have actually put that into the show, it would have really showed character development for both of them. Him being, open and actually talking to someone about this, and especially to her, and it shows that he has trust in her, even in areas where he feels like this is too close to my heart to explain to you, because it really messes with me, and it till this day, because I feel like my decision of not having kids is because of this. you know? So it would have been really nice if they would have had that conversation. But
yeah. I'm thinking they had some budget constraints, perhaps.
they did well. They did pretty good. Oh, you know what? No, you're right. Because the prince kept wearing the same Class A. I was like, can we get he went to the ball with that. Went to breakfast with that. I was really annoyed with his outfit.
I watched this interview and Daphne Penelope, I think that's her name. She said that she wore it 104 gowns.
Right.
Yeah.
I was like, can the prince?
How did she wear so many?
There were a lot of dresses on that show.
Yeah, they have their morning dresses, their evening
their
tea dresses,
their tea dresses, their crumpet dresses,
debutante dresses, their coming out to society dresses. Girl, it was full dresses. But I'm just saying, can a buddy get like 2-3 suits? Like, he's a prince of Saxon Cobra. Like, my dog busts out with the blue suit every day. I was like, yo, y'all doing him dirty, bruh. He don't even look like a prince. He look like a server. They try him, kid.
Sideburns? What was that? Oh
Can we talk about how all the Bridgerton brothers look the same? I could not tell them apart.
Yes!
I
was confused. Wait, who's Benedict? Who's Colin? Who's Anthony? What?
Yeah.
I have them.
Yeah.
It took me
but the other romance that I felt like was so heartbroken was the one with the older brother, Anthony, I think.
Yeah.
With the
Sienna.
With the I was like, damn. I was sad.
Yeah. Well, I asked Cynthia towards the end. I was like, why is Sienna ruining her happiness? Like, what's going on?
She got
tired.
She got
he made the choice to like live his life out with her. Like, he wasn't ashamed anymore. He was ready to bring her out. But then she was like, no, I don't want that.
I feel like the timing for her, she felt like after all this time, now you're realizing that you want me to, when I have someone else. Because remember, before I was like, listen, you don't want to include me because of the lifestyle that I have, then you need to go your way, I'm going to go my way. And that was it. He never bothered her anymore. But it's when he saw her with someone else, he's like, look, I really do love you. I'm ready to show the world that I'm in love with you. I don't care what they say. She's like, no, this is not how we're not gonna work on your timetable. Okay?
Yeah,
you messed up.
I think on top of that, like she didn't want the lifestyle that he had. Because like, you know, he was saying like, oh, come to like the ball with me. She's like, I don't like want to do that. Like, I don't want to, you know, just do that whole scene. Like, she wanted to still live like
and because
a different.
And because of Deidre also remind me not to cut you off. And the rules, because remember, she said, I don't want to be, you know, live in a certain rules. Because if she would have went with him to the ball, she wouldn't have to wear the dresses that she had to change. And she said the reason why she's with this other guy is because he never asked her to change. She can be who she wanted to be with. And he was already telling her, well, not really, but they both understood that if she would have went with him, her whole life would have to change. And she was not willing to do that. Yeah.
All right. So this was incompatible. Okay.
Yeah. It was sad though, because they had passion, but it wasn't enough.
I was heartbroken when like Penny and Colin had that scene where like Penny's like, if you love someone, you should tell them, you should say it, you should be proud and loud, and like he's looking at her a certain way and she thinks like he might like say something, and then he's like, I'm leaving.
They're gonna be together. I have a feeling.
I was heartbroken. Well, yeah, I think they're planting that seed for sure. Yeah. But he's gonna travel the world first, and then maybe like they both change, and then like see each other in like this new sort of light. Yeah, I would like to see that love story play out.
I feel like if they try to get together. It might not happen all because of if he finds out that she is Mrs. Whistledown, he's gonna be like, wow, you were willing to sacrifice my reputation as well. That's not like being a friend or whatever. Because he also, although he didn't take the full brought up the issue because Marina did, it still messes with him and it still affected him, a little bit. So if he found out it was her, it's like, okay, that's not friend-like. You could have just came up to me and told me personally the truth instead of blasting it, out in public. But that would be an issue.
That's a good obstacle for them. That is a good one. I feel like I want to talk about Daphne and Simon again, but I don't know what else to say besides a girl is obsessed.
Yeah, the chemistry was A1. A1.
I just loved it. How did you guys think the pacing of the show was?
It was great until the last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Okay, I'll come fix it.
I really liked it too, because it kept me watching. Because I'm thinking about it now.
So long.
Huh?
Because the episodes, they felt so long because there's so much going on.
Yeah, they do feel really long, and it's only 8 episodes.
Like in a good way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please. Yeah.
And the soundtrack, the score. Who else loved the quartet scores? So good.
You said
Yeah, I'm gonna.
that's something that I really admired because the less form of attachment is like, well, whenever a main character has their own theme, that theme is played throughout the film different ways. And so I was like, I think when we less form of attachment was that scene where they're like, hey, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and I'm like, I love it.
That's why I love the song that I love, because she starts writing it like in her house, and then so I guess like she's writing it as she's thinking about him, but she's not aware of that yet probably. And then like when they're together and have these certain moments, that song starts playing. And I love it when it starts playing when they're pacing and they're like in the rooms and they're both like panicking because they think like they hate each other. And I just like love that song.
Yeah.
It's so
I used to listen to a soundtrack on my podcast on a podcast, and then the guy was saying that if you pay close attention to the movie score, especially dealing with the main characters, if the main character is going through like a tough decision, that theme song changes to, I guess, emphasize on the decision that they have to make. So it's like it tells a different story based on the emotion that the main character is going through, and I like that. So I was like, oh, that's so beautiful.
yeah,
They did a
I
good
think
job.
like the music was a huge part of this show, and I think the color palette too. There's so many pastels.
Right.
My goodness.
Yeah.
And the Duke was always in
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The prince it's not even color palettes for him. He's in one outfit throughout the entire show. I'm sorry. I'm upset with that. I'm so upset with that. Because the ball, same outfit. The breakfast, same outfit. Going to confess his love and propose to this girl, same outfit. They didn't even bother to change the color of his cord. That thing really irks me. I'm sorry. They set him up a failure, bro. They didn't even try with him.
Maybe it's like a sign of like what he thinks of this whole like title and stuff, like because his dad cared about that stuff more than he did. Maybe
Maybe it's a sign of who he is as a person.
He don't care about
like, this normal.
yeah, like he doesn't
Yeah.
care about like, how he needs to like present himself all the time.
True.
I have a question that the show did not answer.
Ooh.
What happened to the necklace that she left on?
I was wondering
the
about that. I
garden?
was like, girl, guess your neck. It looks expensive. Go get it.
Right? I was thinking the girl, I forgot the other girl who Daphne was beefing with. I thought that she was going to be like, oh yeah, I knew what you were doing because how you left this expensive necklace in the garden, but she never brought it up.
Yeah.
Who took the necklace? Who got the necklace?
It just stayed in the garden. Some lucky man found it.
The man who has to cut the lawn or with the scissors, boy, they banking.
You had a lot of questions. That's right. What other questions do you have?
Oh, okay. I'm in the spot. Give me a second, because I'm still thinking about the Prince outfit. What about the?
Huh?
Oh, you.
Gotta have to.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you guys for joining.
This was
It
so
was
fun.
fun.
I'm like,
It really was.
I love it. I wanted to talk about this show so
Forever.
bad because it's like when you like read a book, but like no one else has read it and you want to talk about it. So it's like the same thing. like thank goodness we all watched it. We could talk about it in video chat.
Yeah.
If you guys want to pop out, you can pop out if you want. Thanks for joining. I want to hear Sophia's questions.
Okay.
Bye. Bye, Andrea. Bye, Andrea.
Bye.
The other question that I had was the lady who, the fake French lady, I forgot her name. What's her relationship with the other Bridgerton son? The one who's an artist who enjoy drawing. I feel like something there is going to develop.
Were having like a sexual relationship.
Right. But
yeah.
I feel like something might develop there. Because I feel like
he was gay. First of all. I had that vibe.
You thought he was gay?
He was making friends with the Lord who was actually gay, and then I thought like that storyline was gonna go there because I felt like they had like some sort of chemistry, almost, with the vibe. But yeah,
I didn't know how I was gonna handle that. I was like, oh God, but I'm so glad they didn't go that route. Not to say anything about gay people. I'm just saying I was just shocked if they would have went in that direction. I was like, oh my goodness, they're going to do that. They're going to do that. Because the chemistry with them was hard. Huh?
Why would it be shocking if the vibe is there?
I mean, you know, the audience reaction. Like, nowadays, you look around, it's like, yeah, pride and all that. But, like, we're remembering we're in the early 18th century Regency.
Yeah, but this is the same show that has a black duke. So.
That is true. But I don't know. That is true.
I was expecting a bit because I liked that it was a fictional period drama. Like I liked that they had a black duke, they had modern music, so I expected it to go there actually. And maybe he's bisexual. We don't know. Yeah. Maybe in season 2.
But I think that the way he handled himself around that guy was hilarious. Every time the guy came around, he's like, oh, excuse me one second.
Awkward.
I died because I'm like, yo, if I was in your shoes and I just witnessed that, I would have literally would do the same thing if I was in that time and all that. But I'm curious to see how, I wonder when season 2 is going to come out, because this whole COVID thing is making me nervous because it might seem like for a long time the season 2 is going to be out, but I don't know. I just enjoyed it. I might watch it again. Just gonna say that. I watched it again. Oh, nice.
Because I was done with it in a day, and then after it was done, because it ends kind of really fast, and I was like, wait, but I want more. So that's why I had looked up free versions of the book online, and then I started watching it again. Because I also read an interview with the show creator, and he said that since these are in the book, people are gonna know that it's Penelope, the readers. And so they wanted to play with that a little bit. So they would place her in the corners of the screens and to have her look at people a certain way. And I rewatched it, but I have not been able to catch that yet. So I'm like, where's Penelope?
That is interesting. Yeah. I've watched Good Morning America, I think, where they were talking about how do they feel about this whole thing because of the show's success. What are they doing and processing all of this? And they're like, yeah, it's good because, I go do this and people can't be around and I come back home. And I'm like, but I am going to say, Simon, he has a perfect booty.
Oh my God, yes.
Booty.
Let's talk about more.
A1 booty.
Let's talk about Simon. Every time he walks on the screen.
His swag, the way he walks, when he walked inside a room, I was like, yo.
It's the way he walks.
Yes. I was peeping his swag. I was like, yo, he's walking with that confidence.
Take me. It is the confidence and the swagger.
I was like, okay, he is straight cocky. Okay, I like that. And I like how he was jealous of Daphne and the Prince, I was like, oh, that's
give
me all the jealousy.
I would have loved more moments like that, like where like his true feelings like slip out a little bit. You know what I mean?
That I would say when it comes to Daphne and Simon, that would be the only like disappointment that I had in the show, because I would want to see more of that jealousy. You know, they only had like one moment, and when it's the Prince was around and he had a feeling like, yo, the Prince might propose to this girl, and that's someone that he wasn't, you know, sure he was comfortable with that. And then that was it. I was like, they should have played with that a little bit more. I wanted to see that jealousy, that realizing, oh shoot, I really, really like this girl. So
yes, I agree. I would have wanted to see just a little bit more of like, I mean, like not a lot, but just enough to like, for us to be like in his shoes and to like see the situation from his eyes. Yeah. You know, just enough so that the moment that he's talking to the queen and he's making that declaration is still like,
a surprise, but you still had a back feel like, yeah, we know that's how you feel. We kind of picked up on it, but we wasn't 100% sure.
Yeah, it's like different when it's expressed.
Yeah. That's dope.
But
yeah, I'm so excited. I cannot wait for season 2. Do you know when it's coming out?
I have no idea when it's coming out. I don't know when they start filming, but I'm gonna look up that information after this, because it probably won't be until like freaking 2022 or 23 because of COVID or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a while. So that's why I was rewatching. I was like, I need more.
Yeah. Because normally they would have season 1 and 2 already done, but it was just season 1, and I have a feeling it was because of COVID that they had to like, you know, cut it short.
Yeah, because they started filming like summer of 2019, and they filmed for like 7 months. So they stopped at the top of 2020, like just before COVID like shut down everything.
See, that makes sense.
We were lucky. And I also wanted, let's talk a little bit about, because I know that like I was trying to like not be too crass because I know like the Christian girls are here, but I wanted to talk a little bit more about the love scenes, because when it started out, I was like, oh, okay, like it's pretty like tame. It's a little space. It's fun. Yeah. But then when it gets to like 5, 6, and 7, it's like, oh, there's a sex scene every time.
Let me tell you, so I always pay close attention to the love scene on how the director, what body part that the director chooses to expose, or the actors are comfortable in exposing. Yeah. And when I realized, they were very protective of Daphne character, but Simon Moody was always being shown. However, there is like 1 or 2 episodes where Daphne boobs were exposed, and I was like, okay.
I low-key wanted, because it happens to females all the time. I was hoping for at least maybe 1 penis shot, only because that would have made things more equal.
Oh my god!
You barely ever see that. You always see a girl like you'll see the vagina, the boobs, but like you'll barely ever see the penis. And I was hoping like maybe at least one, you know, because
I don't know how I feel about that, because remember, for the girl, the director can hide her, you know, with a lot of hair, and it'll just tell like, oh, she's full frontal, but you can't see anything because of the full hair. For a guy, that's different. You can't hide nothing. I said it, Bubba. It's gonna be out. There's no hiding anything. So, but for she had a boob exposed. I was like, okay.
She did, yeah. And
fair game.
That was interesting, because she didn't show her boobs a lot, so she probably had to like in her contract, like we'll have 1 boob showing scene.
How do you like that? Are you comfortable with nudity? I'll show 1 nipple and 1 boob and 2 episodes. That's what happened.
Yeah,
because how many times they had sex? It was like ongoing, and then it's like, listen, on your first honeymoon, a nipple's gonna be shown, and then after, when you get to the Duchess, the Duke and the Duchess household, you're gonna have to release 1 boob, and they did that, and I was like, okay, that. But I like how that love scene it was like they got really comfortable in their skin because that honeymoon, it was like, okay, yeah, it did it. It happened. It was beautiful. But as it continued, it was more passionate. It was more lust. It was more like, I need you now because I can't breathe. And I was like, okay, they love each other. I see it. But it was interesting. But they cast the right one for Simon. I'm sorry. The right one. The right one. He has the most beautiful smile.
Oh my God! It's a smile for me.
It
kills me.
Yes.
Perfect.
Let me tell you, when I saw his interview and they said something and he just laughed, I said, yo, you know you have good teeth because you laughing way. I can see the back of your teeth, bruh. But you know it's good. You shut.
Wait,
I was like, all right. You know it's good. You know it's good. But they're really good together. I like how he was able to lift her up. And she was like this little teeny puny thing, and I was like, "Wow, the chemistry."
My God, I mean, I agree with you. That like 20 minutes, that like sex bomb, but like with the song and just like everything, I was so engrossed in it. Like, oh my God.
Yes.
What are you talking about?
I agree. She was. Go ahead, Cynthia. She was mentioning about like the scene and the music behind it too. Those were good. Yeah, I like the music.
I love all the music. All of it. So good. So good. But like the Burn for You scene, like that entire scene for me, I think it's my favorite scene.
Yeah. Because when Andrew said it, she was like, why are you guys still angry? You're married. I felt the same way too. He's like, I trust you. I was like,
I honestly, I don't know. I really didn't. Okay, so there were a few things with me watching the show. I knew that he could have kids because of the vow that he made to his father. More that he could, and not that he wouldn't. I got that. And then the fact when he was all drunk, I didn't really think that he was mad at her because the fact that he was willing to die, then marry her. I don't think he was mad that he was gonna get married. I think he was just like protecting her, and then he was just like angry at himself. You know.
Perspective. I just felt like I don't know, like I guess I was seeing it more from Daphne's point of view because like she looked like she wanted to talk to him, but like they never had a chance, and then he's giving her those looks like he's mad at her, but he wasn't mad. Obviously,
we're not mad. He was not mad at her.
Well, no, okay, not mad, but he was avoiding her. He had avoided behavior.
I feel like he just didn't want to have to look at her in the face and like see disappointment, you know?
That's what he said after. Yeah.
Like I just feel like that's what it was. Like he just didn't want to see that. So he was trying to like avoid her. But I don't know, like I never really thought that he was like angry at her ever.
Yeah. But it's like weird to have them be confused about each other's feelings when they had that moment in the garden.
Yeah.
But there was a scene when he was drunk outside the bar or the tavern, whatever. That he screams like the boxer, I don't know his name. He tells him like, "Oh, like get up, let's go," and then he screams, "Oh, do you guys know the tune to A Trapped Wife?" And I was like, "Oh, she's not trapped."
Wow, that's sad. I think I also want to talk about the boxer because I felt like in his scene towards the end where he made the deal with the beat dead father of the other family. I forgot their name. The Featherington. Yeah. I felt like his scene, whenever he's like on the screen, the race issue is explained a little bit more, very slightly, on what's happening. And especially in his character, he felt like there's a scene where he mentioned that his father fought with Lord Dunmore, which I was like, oh my God. And the guy was a guy who he was a British loyalist, and he was telling people, hey, if you're enslaved, come fight for the British. And his father fought for, according to the story, fault, and he was like, look, I want to be more, because these people only view me as a performer and not a businessman. And I was like, that I felt like, yes, explain what is going on here. And I felt like I appreciate that show so much because they mention, or they explain little as to what's going on and how their race relationship was happening. But the fact that he mentioned it himself and how he viewed the situation that he's in, I thought that was very deep. I thought that towards the end, I thought that was deep, because he was like, I don't want to just be a performer. I want to provide for my family. I want to secure a future for them. And I know that these people are here because they only see me as a performer. And I'm not going to waste the freedom that my father fought for. I was like, I love this show.
I love it. I just felt Simon disappointment when he realized it's like what his friend did. Like he had to like take that down.
I honestly didn't feel like, I was like, oh, you did what you had to do. Like, that's it.
Provide for his kids.
Whatever.
But he said something that I like. It wasn't after he had made that decision and got the money, but he said something to Simon. He was like, look, man, don't be upset with me, because you need to be upset with the person you're really upset. I'm trying to get mine. I was like, boy, look here. That ain't nothing sexier than a man knowing what he wants to do. And he was like, yeah, we're friends, but you cannot get upset with me, man. Wrong person. And I was like, I appreciate him.
Like, settle that shit with your wife.
Exactly. I like. But the boxing scene with them two when they were practicing, girl.
Wait a minute. You know, I don't know if you guys are like on TikTok, but there's like that one TikTok that's like, what is that, like, not sexual scene that like, but like is sexual, but it's not. And it was, for me, it was that when Daphne's with the prince at that boxing match, and she's looking at Simon rolling up his sleeves. Lord.
And she's like, oh Lord, Daphne.
She has
first. I'm like, that's such a like stupid thing to be like about, but I was like, oh my god, he's rolling up his sleeves in public.
But you know us girls, when we looking, we look.
You looking?
Okay, we looking.
I see the arm. It's the arm.
Yeah. So when he rolled up the sleeve, I'm like, yeah, you better make that girl look thirsty, because I would too. I'm like, ooh, he's rolling up the sleeve, y'all.
You see, like, I would have loved like one scene of him like thirsting after her a little bit, like just like I want to see it from his side too.
I like how he told her how to please herself. And when he walked, and then I felt like, help me out, because I felt like when he walked away and said, come, it almost seemed like he was telling her to, come on, come follow me. Or was he saying come as in, and then it was, girl, the pun was well played. The pun was well played.
I didn't notice that. I have to go back and watch.
Yes, it was right when I was watching it right before I logged on with you guys. And he's like, oh, and then, you reach the pinnacle. And then he's like, I hope that would help you. Come.
Yeah,
and then he
walked away.
And I'm like, I know what you did. I know what you did there.
I was like, I see what you did. Well played.
I didn't notice. That's like good on the writers.
Yes. And because he just stopped. Come. And I was like, I see. Nice pun. Everything works out. Nice.
Exactly.
I love that.
They're like, what?
I love that because like he did that as a friend, since he clearly sees that her mom is not gonna have the conversation with her, and like as a friend, he did that, like explain the shit to her. And that's why I love like how gentle he was with her like their first time. You know what I mean?
Nah, I felt like when he explained that to her, he was arousing her as well, because he was explaining it. And
she was afraid the whole time.
She looked like she was about to pass out.
He would like inch closer to her as he was saying it, and just like closer and closer. I'm just like,
and she was hanging on every word. Like what?
She looked like
she was shocked. She didn't know, like, I could do that. Are you sure?
That's
Okay.
something I'm allowed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she actually
Yeah,
does it.
girl, lock the doors.
Yeah.
I didn't talk about her, man. All right.
Thinking of him, and that's why like I love when he asked later, what were you thinking about?
It was so playful. They were flirting with each other, but they had like that nice balance of friends as well as that flirtatious, playfulness.
It was perfect. It was
Yeah,
perfect.
it
Like friendship and then
Mom wanted for her. Her mom said, marry somebody who's like your best friend.
yeah.
Remember, she could have been a princess. She could have been a princess. And her mom was like, I
Did
don't
you notice
see
how
that
the
for
mom,
you.
she told her that she was engaged? She goes, oh, okay, so I guess you'll be a princess. And she's like, no, I'm engaged to the Duke. And she's like, I feel so much better.
The Duchess! Well, technically, the Duchess
The
is like,
mom knew. The mom knew from the first episode, like, I see the way you guys look at each other. Like, she knew before they knew.
yeah, it's the chemistry. When you could deny it, but when people see that chemistry, they're like, all right, man, it's gonna happen.
It's over.
It's over. Yeah,
Or that
that's a good show.
they're like in the looking at the artwork and like they just
It's the subtle movements for me in this throughout the show.
oh my God,
There's so many moments where there's non-verbal communication going on, and it's just looks. It's just the touch. It's just that I can't even tell you, but I feel it, and I'm like, yo, girl, I feel it too. And
I felt it. I felt that shit. It was real. It was good. It was good casting because they made that work.
Yeah. And I like the girl who played the Daphne. She was explaining. She was like, because they asked her to say, hey, how do you guys prepare for like the dancing and the chemistry? And she was like, well, whenever they're not rehearsing, because they rehearse so many times, and whenever they have their own free time, they'll call each other like, hey, you want to hang out? Let's rehearse and let's do this. And she said, and when it was time to play it out on this, when they were filming, it came so easy to them because they did it so many times and as well as alone together, so that they built that trust and built on that chemistry. And I was like, girl, y'all build it for real. So I'll build it. So yeah,
that's why I had to rewatch it because I couldn't get enough. I was like, it can't be over. I need to relive
as
this.
soon as I was
yeah.
done, I'm like, episode 1.
Episode 1. Me too.
Yeah. I haven't watched episode 1, but I haven't rewatched this the show, but I do plan on it because I keep having like memories of certain scenes in my head, and I'm like,
you have to start at episode 1 because you want to catch all the looks and the glances and the touches. Like, you want to catch it all.
Yeah. It was really dope. It's really dope.
Like that scene where he like goes to the queen to like make their plea for their marriage license or to get married. That monologue that tears.
Yeah.
Tears. I was squealing the whole time because he doesn't express himself. And I think that moment was a big moment for him to like say, because he has trouble speaking. So for him to even like say something so personal and deep, and it's his true feelings, it was the honesty in the moment for me. It was like, I can't take this. This is killing me. This is killing me.
Yeah, I don't think he had issues in speaking. I just feel like
no.
Because
look, I'm thinking of like his past with like
yeah
and like his entire journey, like he's able to come to this moment and like express himself freely.
I felt like even with that, sometimes he tend to hold things in because he feel like I don't have anyone to share these deep feelings with, so I'm okay in just keeping them inside. So for him to actually go before the queen in front of everyone else to hear how you really feel about this girl, it was a huge turning point. And I was like, yo, dope. So,
I was like, oh my God, this show.
Yeah.
Thinking about it.
Yeah. He said that though. He said that. I wasn't even prepared for it. I was like, what he's gonna say?
I wasn't ready. It's the whole
I don't know why. I really thought he was just gonna be quiet and like Daphne was gonna go off about like how she felt. But the fact that he was like, that's a lie. We weren't like really like dating. We weren't really cool. We were just like, we just like to spend time together. And I was like,
It's his best friend.
And then the thing too was that if you really think about it, he just said, "Look, our truth is good enough. We don't have to lie and tell you that we like each other. I'll tell you the truth. We fake a relationship, and yet we fell in love. And you know, I noticed that she was like, she's the one, and I'm like, that's right. It's not fake. This is real. Our relationship and how we got together is enough for you to understand that I love this girl." And I was like, yo, just get him just take the panties, yo. Take the panties.
Yes, girl. So I was like, Simon, take me.
What they used to call it back then? Take my shift. Take it. You can have it.
Oh my
But
god.
it was really good.
They sold it to me, man. I was into it.
And it's every character. It's every single one of them. They did it for me. I enjoyed it. I love Eloise.
I was looking at the timeline for season 2, and we said it might be 2022.
Yeah, I figured.
I'm so disappointed with that.
Because they're going to film like all year, and they have to take precautions with COVID and stuff, so it's going to take some time. It'll take some time, but thank you guys so much for indulging me in what I wanted to fangirl about. I'm happy that we're able to come together and talk and squeal. And feel free to mess, because I'm gonna like be like reading the books and like still watching the show. So feel free to message me if you're squealing and you want to squeal and you want to fangirl with someone.
How randomly send a voice memo. Melissa, we must make haste.
We should do that in our opening. We're just talking the British Regency era. Make haste, please.
Make haste. Yeah.
But that's what I'm gonna do, because I really thoroughly enjoy the show so much that I really want to read the book just to make sure that I didn't miss anything. Like, I understand, you know, the pacing and the books, you know, doesn't really match up, so certain things they couldn't make it to the film or the show. So I really want to read it and see how
yeah, that's why
Are you reading the book?
Oh, I haven't. I'm going to order it.
You should do something for your Bookstagram.
I know. Oh, I'm still gonna get on it. Work has been driving me insane. But the good thing is that I work from home, so I'm like, you know what? I just been lazy. Let's do this. So I'm gonna do that. But
I just want to know if it's like in like first person or is like a third person, like
that
point of
is
view. The
third person.
Third person.
It's in third person.
Yeah,
Third person?
because the narrator of the show. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's in third
When they
person.
whistle time.
It's in third, and yeah, I like that because then you get to see like both perspectives, sort of, you know. Yeah.
But I think Andrea did pick up a valid point, because she's like the lady in the shop owner, the fake French lady. She was playing like, you know,
yeah,
don't
that's why
push. I feel like
it could be like a Gossip Girl thing that everybody is like lady. Everybody writes to her, and then like, or like everyone writes to Penelope, or like she prints it, but like everybody like has
drop out their
own
notes anonymously.
Yeah.
Man,
I like
this is dope.
Cool beans. I had a great time with you guys. I think it's been like an hour and a half, and it's not long enough that I could keep talking about it, but we can do that later on, or I don't know when. I'm gonna watch the show.
I'm gonna watch it again too, because now you guys got me hyped. I'm like, oh, I didn't see that. I need to go watch it again.
As I hang up here when I keep watching it.
Get some food in my system, and then I'm gonna watch it while I'm eating.
Do it. All right, guys. Love you guys. Hopefully I can see you next time for another chat. Have a wonderful evening and be safe.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.